It's day two of the Ebor meeting. We're already successful with a 16-1 winner, Dutch Connection from Tom Marriott. Let's hope we can do the same on day two. And another one of our regular panellists is on the phone. It's Sam Boswell. Good evening, Sam.
Good evening, Peter. How are you? Did you enjoy York today?
I certainly did, and the feature for me was Australia winning, as you please, from the Great Gatsby. I don't know, what was your highlight of the day?
I was going to say the exact same thing. I think Australia's been a real talking horse this season. Plenty were out to try and get the horse beat today, and I was pleased to see it come home in front for Connections. I think Aidan O'Brien is a man who divides opinion, but one thing's for sure, he can certainly train a good horse.
Absolutely. Well, let's go on to day two, and the first race, Cool Company, is all the rage, but I think you want to talk about Fast Act.
Yeah, well, the 155, he gave me the wonderful two-year-old race that does feature, I think, a real superstar in Cool Company. You know, this horse has won 5 times this year, second in the Group 1. It's been travelling as well in doing its winning, so it's headed abroad, which I always think is impressive for a horse to do that and then come back to win again. But at the prices, given there's 19 other runners in the race, I just really want to try and take it on, and Fast Act's possibly one of the ones I'd be looking at. Kevin Ryan himself has won this race 2 out of the last 3 renewals, and does tend to do quite well at York at this particular meeting. He obviously had a winner in the first race today as well. So I would be looking possibly to see, out of his runners, Fast Act is definitely the shorter of the two. I think it's approximately the 5-1 mark as we talk from Goldie, that's about 33s. Fast Act, it's a horse that came third behind Tiggy Wiggy, who we'll talk about a little bit later in the other race I'll be looking at. And that could be really good form, obviously, if Tiggy Wiggy goes on to win later in the day. Visually, that race was a stunning performance from the winner, and I think Fast Act was possibly a little bit hidden by that, and I don't think it got the credit the horse deserved. It's run reasonably well this season, and if Kevin Ryan can get a bit more improvement out, I think that may be the one at a shorter price to take on Cool Company, but there's plenty of others in the race with chances, I think.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Cool Company's just run up in a Group 1 only a week ago. I mean, obviously the cash up for grabs here is tantalising for Connections, and no wonder that's why Cool Company's running. Fast Act, as you said, a main challenger. Valley of Fire, Samuel Hill, other two that you want to mention? Yeah,
Valley of Fire, I really think this sort of horse is the type that could be anything. Given that the only start it's ever had was at York and it won over the course and distance, you'd have to feel confident of the newcomers that this would be the one I'd be leaning towards, the really unexposed types that could be anything. Andrea Izzini takes the ride. Like I say, if you watch the actual run the horse had at York, it really managed to find difficulty on several occasions. Given over the short distance, it still managed to come home and win by just a nose in a photo, a 3-way photo. And it sort of shifted from one side of the track to the other. And I just thought visually it was really impressive to see a horse on debut given a really tough ask and come through really, despite running greenly, to win the race, albeit by a very short margin.
Okay.
The trainer won this renewal last year as well, so I certainly wouldn't be writing that one off. I think at 8-1 at the moment, sort of best price, I would definitely be thinking Valley of Fire could be one to take on the short price favourite, and even if you like an each way bet, I think 8-1's a fair price.
Okay, Sam, we're going to have to move on. Samuel Hill, very quickly.
I think this horse... sorry, Peter, I didn't quite hear. Was that Shahil?
Yeah.
Yeah, another one that's really unexposed. Dane O'Neill picks this over the other William Haggis runner. I'm quite intrigued by that. Given a really tough workout at HQ, had 3 different challenges on August the 1st when it won at Good to Firm at Newmarket, and it still came through to beat them all, only by a short distance, but it was quite well fancied, second favourite in that race.
So Sam, for punters, how do we play this first race? For people watching, how do we play it?
I wouldn't be going crazy because of the nature of the race. I probably would try laying the favourite if it goes short, because I think the thing we're trying to highlight tonight, Peter, is the fact there's plenty in here with chances. I mean, I've written one down at a huge price, Jerry the Glove, 25-1. Obviously, the trainer knows the time of day at this particular meeting, given he's a local guy. He knows what potentially he needs to win a race like this, and it's stepping up in distance, which, given the 2 runs it's had, were very impressive. The form of the second in its first race has come out really well. It's gone on to win, and it steps up in trip.
OK. All right, Sam. So we need to move on to the 2:30 and we need to wrap this up. There's three runners here, really. Anthem Alexander, Tiggy Wiggy, Cursory Glance. Where do you want to start?
You're completely right on this one. It is a fantastic three-way tie, a real tussle. And I think, actually, I'll start with Cursory Glance. The horse that I think will be the forgotten one in this particular race, given the fact that Tiggy Wiggy and Alexander Anthem have clashed already this season. I think that potentially Cursory Glass's win in the Albany could be overlooked. And if you watch that race back, all the best work was being done right at the end of the race. You would not have had the horse as the winner if you were watching the first 4 and a bit furlongs. Like I say,
does the absence worry you, Sam?
Possibly, but at the same time, I can't imagine there's too many races that would have been taken in. I mean, Anthem Alexander hasn't run again since Royal Ascot, so it's hard to be too concerned. The only thing I would say is I think if the other two market leaders get away at a quicker pace, and given they've both won over 5, you would be concerned that Cursory Glance doing its best work late in the race could come too late if the two up front get away from that horse in particular. But it's a horse taking its chance, and I think Cursory Glance is one that I could not put anyone off. But
OK, Sam,
yep.
in relation to Anthem Alexander, I mean, that was due to run 11 days ago in the Phoenix Stakes, but the rain kept the horse away. Again, there's rain scheduled for tomorrow. Would that concern you for Anthem Alexander?
Well, given that the race is at 2:30, if it was at the end of the card, possibly. But given we don't know how much to expect, I can't see Connections pulling out. I know a couple of my friends over in Ireland have tweeted me to say that Pat Mullen is very bullish about the chances of Alexander, and you do tend to take note when a jockey of his nature tends to say that. My concern would be, I think Tiggy Wiggy has been on the upgrade in comparison, and I know Anthem Alexander beat Tiggy Wiggy back at the Ascot run, but when you go back through the run in the Super Sprint, that was genuinely a breathtaking run and showed real improvement from the horse. And like I say, he didn't beat bad horses. If Fast Act was to go and win the 155, suddenly Tiggy Wiggy will probably go off an even shorter price favourite. This market will be fascinating to watch. It's between the three of them, and I honestly think you could have any one of the three as favourite. Tiggy Wiggy, I think, at the moment tends to be heading the market, but you've got to say if the money comes from over the sea for Anthem Alexander, you could quite conceivably see the rain staying away. That one will go off favourite. I think it's a really intriguing race. From a betting perspective, it's incredibly hard to call. If I had to favour one, I'll probably be going for Tiggy Wiggy just because that Super Sprint win was just so brilliant, and I think it's a horse on the upgrade. Getting the £3 from Anthem Alexander, I think Tiggy Wiggy will be my selection in the race. But Cursory Glance we could all be missing and not giving enough of a glance to, if you see what I mean. OK, Sam, we're going to have to wrap it up. So just for the viewers at home, your selections in the first race and the second race, you give the reasons why, but just to let us know exactly what your selections are in the first 2 races tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to pick in the 155. I'm going to probably have to hedge with. I'll go with Valley of Fire as an 8-1 shot for William Haggis. Really unexposed. I could have missed out the other unexposed one, which is Shahil, but like I say, I'll go for Valley of Fire. Possibly a small each way on Jerry the Glove as well at 25-1. And in the 2:30, I'm going to go for Tiggy Wiggy. I know it'll be a short price, but I just really like the way this one moves, and I think it's going to be the likely winner of the 3, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it get beat. OK, fantastic. Thanks very much for your insight into the first 2 races at York. Thank you very much indeed, Sam. No problem. Take care, Peter. Bye-bye.